Hey, howdy, welcome back to the channel. This is Matthew Pizgatti. I want to tell you about something new that I just saw, I think today, and that's been kind of rattling around the DRIP Telegram chats. I think maybe at least one other YouTuber had mentioned it or covered it. I wouldn't be doing a very good job of logging or recording my journey along the way to passive income through crypto. Whatever your goal is, we may have different goals, but I think we're all trying to make something back from this, right? So any new interesting little tidbits, I want to share them. Similar to I find everything along the way in a range, right? On some type of scale. It's not stake, by the way. I've just brought that up for a moment to illustrate a point that every new speculative play or gamble or new DeFi protocol falls somewhere on the range of what you think is as far as your confidence level. Is it something you want to throw money at or not, and how much, right? So, for instance, stake, I had mentioned as kind of a speculative play when I first tossed something at it. I'm feeling more confident about it now, obviously, because of just the sentiment, right? The sentiment level is going up. It's the price itself. I mean, just look at the price. It's heading upward. Small community that's rapidly building. A lot of mechanisms in the system that are very similar to DRIP, which means that it has a similar amount of longevity. New things coming down the line. All these things. This video isn't about stake, but there's a number of reasons that I'm more confident on it than I was. The only thing that could happen is if the devs turn out to be not trustworthy, and we know that's always a possibility in this space, always. But I've not seen anything to indicate that as of yet, and I'm always honest about that. If I saw a red flag or something worried me, then I would mention that. I haven't seen anything. I've seen some baseless rumors floating around on Twitter and other things to discredit projects, like you always do. I couldn't even track it down to tell you what the the rumor was, but there's always something like that. So other than that, I've seen nothing to throw me for a loop. So I've thrown money at it, and I've thrown a little more money at it. And you guys have signed up under me. A few of you have. We have a little team of 11 now, which is awesome because we all get, or I'm sorry, everyone under me, since I'm now a team leader technically. And if you guys get at least 5 people under you, you'll be a leader, and it kind of just adds to the whole team. But you get some bonuses from that. You get a 2.5% kickback on your own deposits and compounds if you're under someone who's already a team lead who has 5 referrals. So yeah, it's a benefit for all you guys who signed up under me. I appreciate it. Once I get this thing live, if this thing's really kicking and running up the ramp like DRIP was in the early days, especially up to its all-time high, I hope we head the same direction. I'll try to be, airdropping and doing all that for you. So back to the matter at hand, back to what I was going to mention and where it falls in the scale, scale of trustworthiness. And on that scale, I have to say, I don't know. That's why this is one of those where it's just purely speculative, something that I just got wind of today, and that is Orbital. If you've already heard of it today, if you've already looked into it, you can, shut the video off now. But, so this is, excuse me, this is orbitalswap.com. And at first glance, I'm just going to kind of run through my first impressions. The website looked relatively professionally done. The UI or code in the background for some of the trading portals and things like that, that must be, if that's not open source code somewhere, I assume it is. The UI is incredibly similar to PancakeSwap, you might notice right away. I mean, this whole website is very similar to that. So they may have built off of some type of open code that was similar. Looks like they were doing a pre-sale for something called Titan. I don't know a lot about that, so I'm not going to comment much on it. I think the pre-sale is already over. Maybe they're just adding more liquidity. I don't know if this is live or not. There is a little drop down here for docs, and that actually talks a lot more about that launch. The exciting thing about this, though, the reason I want to mention it, is that in the farms, there is a DRIP BUSD farm. So that is, DRIP BUSD is what is a liquidity type of token you put into and harvest from the DRIP garden, right? Now, one thing I'd say don't get too excited about, a couple things, really. The first one is that it's not the exact same liquidity pool because one is on PancakeSwap. So if you were to harvest from your drip garden, you couldn't take it directly to Orbital and throw it into this stake. So that's one big note. You'd actually have to break it. You'd have to remove liquidity on PancakeSwap, which is not a big deal. There's just, a few cents of gas for each of these steps. But you'd have to remove liquidity from PancakeSwap, And then you would have to come over here and then create the LP token on this page, this orbitalswap.com, and then you could put it into the farm if you decided to. Now the APY, if you look at some of the APR here, if you look at some of the calculators, they have a handy calculator, which is really nice. Now this is assuming if the price essentially stays the same for their native token, which is orbs, I think, are the native token that you'd be earning. It's worth about 16 bucks right now. If it stays around that, that's what this estimation is here, is that, let's say I put in $100 worth of DRIP BUSD LP, that's about 9 of the LP, and I lock it up for 1 year, compounding every day, that's about 16,720. 5 years, obviously you're going to get, well, I think I hit edit here accidentally. So there's a nice little calculator if you want to play around with what the returns look like. That's what kind of attracted me to it. Not only that, but it's a DRIP BUSD type of farm, right? So we can put our DRIP BUSD in there. We can get something of value back out, which is orbs. We can get these orbs back out, and then we can sell them, or we can put them into their single stake pool. You can stake orbs here for either a locked time period or flexible, where you can pull it back out at any time. And the calculations for that also look really, really nice. If you say have $500 worth of orbs that you got from that other farm, lock it up for 5 weeks, and you have this equivalent. Now, obviously, the prices are going to fluctuate. We don't know how this site is, how legitimate it is, how long it's. I do see an audit up here that you could read, audited by Spade. I'm not sure how big of a service they are. You could kind of comment on that if you're familiar with it. And so, this is interesting. I threw 2 LP at it. That's only worth about 20 US dollars. So nothing huge. That was just earlier today, a couple hours ago. I'm already up to 7 cents. Someone was mentioning to us in one of the groups that they had thrown just orbs in. They just bought orbs, which I'm thinking about just kind of follow along with what other people I hear are doing. And they threw in a large amount, and I've already gotten a huge amount back just from doing this flexible staking. So at least right now, it seems to be returning a lot. So back to my 2 points, the 2 kind of negatives, besides that, this is something new that we haven't really heard of before. We don't know a lot about it. One potential negative is that you do have to take the LP out of the liquidity tokens out of the pool from PancakeSwap and then put it into liquidity here before you can stake it in their farm. The other one is that we don't know if this is an official partnership. Now, as far as I understand crypto and it being decentralized, it doesn't have to be an official partnership. If anything, if this took off and DRIP people got wind of it, what this really does is we're kind of getting, a sneak peek preview of this. So that's one of the things, right? If it's a official partnership, we're getting this like sneak peek preview of it, and we'd be getting it on the ground floor, which is really exciting. If it's not an official partnership, what this does is it's almost like it's a new utility for DRIP, right? And on top of that, if it was something organic that wasn't talked about, that is just a partnership, that isn't a official partnership, that means it just organically arose, which is almost even better for DRIP, because that means some third-party website that may not be affiliated, some other swap page, this DEX, has decided to list it and make it a compounding farm that you can actually earn their native token on. And if you remember ApeSwap that we were waiting for and then didn't launch, that's essentially what they were going to do, right? We were going to farm with DRIP and get bananas back. So this could be an official partnership. It could not be. I'm not going to speak for Forex. We haven't heard from him. Hopefully there'll be some announcement. Maybe this wasn't supposed to leak. Maybe it's not official at all. But either way, I think it's actually a positive for DRIP, because it is a separate DEX. It is a separate website using DRIP in some way, and it's a DRIP BUSD pair, so it's a liquidity pool so that you can actually earn rewards on. So I think it's exciting either way. I threw some in there, and then I'm going to think about throwing some into Orb, just buying some Orb and staking it, because I hear a couple people making a good bit return right now. But all that being said, I don't know anything quite about it directly. But I am going to make a little more in detail video too about how this kind of relates to ApeSwap. I mean, I don't want to just ramble on and on about it here, but we were waiting on some type of partnership, and whether this is official or not, it seems like we kind of got one. Now, of course, anyone can make a website, anyone can make a blah blah blah, whatever it is. But this does look like, if you go to info, it does look like there's volume happening. There's volume taking place here, being traded, and not just DRIP on their orb, their native token. They've got that big pre-sale running for that Titan token, and that's got a lot of volume in the last 24 hours. So there's a lot of liquidity locked up. There's a lot of volume. There's price changes going on. This appears to be a legitimate swap type of site when there's actual liquidity and volume happening. So a lot of that lends itself to some credence to being legitimate. I haven't looked through any of their channels. I haven't looked through their Twitter. It all seems to come back to this Titan that they were raising for. So, I would obviously, as always, this is not any type of advice. Do your own research. Look into this. Tell me if you think it looks shady or you see something weird. Definitely mention that in the comments. Call it out, because I'm not just preaching for it. I just found it today. Had heard about it, and I hear some success, and I'm interested to see what the returns are. So that's why I'm just kind of very speculative, throwing something at it, see what's what. But all that being said, yeah, take a look, see if it's interesting to you. All right, well, I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. You stay safe out there. I just wanted to mention that if you hadn't caught wind of it in the Telegram, no word on where it actually fits in the ecosystem or if it's any type of officiality. But this is crypto. It's decentralized. Anyone can make something to use your token. And I think as a dev, as an ecosystem, you would want them to. But then, it's up to the user. That's the whole point of deregulation, decentralization. You trust these things at your peril. They may be amazing, they may not, and we don't know. So, all right, you guys stay safe out there. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing. I appreciate you all. Thanks again.